lovely, beautiful astrology soulmates. It's me, Stormie Grace, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of August 22nd, where so excited, too much already, where this week we are encountering a new moon week. We're going to have the new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo. We've also got the sun moving into the energy of Virgo. It's very Virgo territory as we experience these energies this week, which is great because it's like, good, finally I can get organized, I can prioritize, I can get these things done. However, we've also got Uranus stepping into its retrograde this week. So that means we've got a full house, full sky, packed with retrograde planets, which means that truly nothing is pushing forward that quickly. Now, if you personally have the outer planets retrograde in your chart, you may find that this next handful of weeks is a little bit easier for you to come out and get things done. But for the rest of us who do not have retrograde planets in our chart, it's going to be like, oh, I really want to go forward, but I can't yet. There's also a great amount of energy with both the moon and the Uranus retrograde that speaks to a fair amount of instability, right? Wherever there's been a rut or something that needs to be changed, it really does get rocketed and shaken this week so that some things can be unearthed and risen to the surface. So lots going on in the cosmic sky this week. If you are new here, thank you for joining me. I would love for you to click the subscribe button and come back because we meet here every week, talk about what's going on in the astro sky so that we can, as a community, take an opportunity to, first of all, kind of get a vibe about what's coming, but then how to work with the energies the best for the week. And that's my job, is to translate and interpret and then broadcast what the language of astrology offers so that you have something this week that can be useful and helpful to you in a way that you can understand it. So if you're new here, if you've been here 100 years, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being with me. I'm looking forward to walking through what's going on this particular week. Also, before we jump in here, keep in mind that next week, we're going to have one of our YouTube Academy teachers, Catherine Goshen, coming back to answer questions and review her class on sun-moon blends. I'll make sure that the link to that video is underneath in the description box, but you can also go to the YouTube Academy playlist and check out all of our classes that start beginning astrology from the ground up. Really delicious stuff. Now, we're also going to have the opportunity to rewatch the Q&A that Michael Bartlett just did on retrograde planets in the chart. So it's all out there for you. Make sure you are checking it out, okay? All right, my beautiful friends, let's get in here and see what this week in the cosmos has to offer us. Now, first and foremost, as we are coming into the week on Monday, on the 22nd, we are visiting still the moon, our lunar life, the way that we're coming in, still in the energy of Cancer. So it's a moon day ruled by the moon. It's a very comfortable kind of energy, but you also may be feeling a little bit more emotionally sensitive. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's like you can sense and feel what's going on around you in the vibration. Then we're going to have Mercury come into a trine with Pluto. So Mercury being our planet of the mind, how we make decisions, our thinking. Pluto being our planet of death, reintegration, transformation, regeneration. As these two planets come together, and remember, Mercury is in its pre-retrograde shadow time right now, so it's not moving as quickly as it normally does. Pluto is also already retrograde, so they're really slowing down to help you in this trine have a sharp mind, ask questions, to have deep conversations, come up with different solutions, probe a little bit for information on things that have already been in your wheelhouse. Now, it can also be a time where you find that something really profound, a profound piece of information gets revealed to you, or you reveal it to someone else that actually gets a process, not necessarily moving forward, but it brings clarity and it brings a sense of, I think, justice or rightness to the table. So it's a great day to ask questions. It's a great day to plan trips, get a strategy together, go on a discovery mission for some kind of information. That's a wonderful energy. Now, later in the day, we're going to say happy birthday to our Virgo friends, okay? Because the sun is going to move into the energy of Virgo. So for the next 4 weeks, we've got this delicious vibration of discernment. That's the real gift of an evolved Virgo energy, is the gift of discernment. Being organized enough to say, this is the thing that needs to be the priority. I discern that this needs to be the priority, not this. right? Just organization in general. It's a beautiful season of being highly organized when we come into Virgo territory. There's also a simple, delicious, tedious sweetness to being of service to other people. Virgo really wants to help. Now, the lower expression of Virgo, you can find yourself being very nitpicky and very critical of yourselves and others. You're like power thinking, analysis paralysis comes into your life where you're supposed to be getting some things done, but you really can't even move forward. So I want you to watch at the evolutionary band and spectrum of Virgo, where are you showing up, and where over this next 4 weeks can you also celebrate and enjoy the sweetness of highly organized, being of service, taking care of your body, making sure those minerals, those nutrients, your support staff, whether it's a naturopath or a doctor, whatever you need to help support you in a day-to-day way is really nicely, beautifully organized to help in your favor, okay? Now we're going to experience the push of these energies well into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, especially that Mercury Pluto trine. Of course, we'll have the sun here for the next 4 weeks. But we are going to get to Wednesday, which really, I feel like the energy, you're going to feel it on Tuesday, but it becomes deliciously, it becomes for sure as we get to Wednesday. We are first going to have the moon move into the energy of Leo, and that's going to be early on Wednesday morning, okay? So now we've got this kind of big heart and fire emotions to deal with what's coming our way. Because one of the things that is going to be coming our way is Uranus is going to step into its retrograde at 18 degrees of Taurus. Now, I want you to flash all the way back to May 7th this year of 2022, when Uranus was at 14 degrees of Taurus. What were you working on? Where were you? What were the lessons coming up for you that were a lot about breaking free? I need freedom. I crave it. I need something to be different. This area of my life is in a rut. I'm doing something that I've never done before. What was that? Because as Uranus takes this retrograde, it's going to back all the way up to 14 degrees of Taurus. And we'll see it come officially out of its retrograde, come direct in January. But the full cycle, including the post-retrograde shadow time, is not going to happen until May 9th of 2023. Okay, so we've got a long full cycle from May to May to be looking at. But I want you to go back as Uranus takes this retrograde to what was going on in May of this year. Now, this particular Uranus retrograde, we always pay attention to kind of what's going on, what's happening, the conversation in the sky when a planet is going retrograde, because it'll usually point you right to what you need to put your finger on. Now, at this Uranus retrograde, we're going to see that there is a Venus-Saturn square. There's also going to be a conversation happening on the other side between Venus squaring Uranus. So, that is a lot. That is a lot to work with when we're talking about a retrograde coming into the sky, because what it points me to, my friends, immediately is what is going on in your relationships, what is going on in your finances. Something doesn't belong there, or something is really like, how solid is this? How stable is this? Have you innovated, right? Is there something that you're like, oh, I'll get to it later. Oh, I'll handle this conversation later. No. Where instability has been creeping its head since May, I want you to put your eyes and your mind around that, because Uranus and these retrogrades and the aspects in the sky are making it necessary for you to be under enough pressure to get in here and to look at what's going on. Now, the other thing I will tell you, anytime we're doing Uranus transit, or we're doing anything that has to do with Uranus, being flexible, adaptable, innovative, open-minded. These are the key words that are going to show you the way forward, because just because your relationship is having challenges, or just because your finances are having challenge, just because your value or your worth is having challenge, doesn't mean it's the end-all be-all and has to be this way forever. It just means that if you will be willing to look at the unnecessary things that are there, you can start having a different experience. It's very much so this idea that the truth will set you free, and that sometimes, I think a lot about planting. I have plants everywhere. You guys can see that. But sometimes I have to prune my plants, right? And sometimes in order to save a plant's life, I cut it all the way down. I have to cut it all the way down to get the stuff that has been rutted and has been spoiled down at the bottom for whatever reason. And we're very much so like the nature that we're surrounded with. So I want you to keep that in mind as things are changing. Now, later in the day, we're going to see Venus form a trine to Chiron, okay? As Venus and Chiron trine and create opportunity with one another, one of the thoughts that I have is it's okay to own our mistakes. It is 100% okay to say, a different version of me built this, a different version of me did this, a different version of me believed in this, and today I breathe a little deeper. I move a little bit differently because this next version of me that has been birthed and is coming forward and driving behind the wheels of my life sees things differently. And it's okay for me to move on. It's also okay for me to experience uncomfortability and understand that it may be a part of my growth as well. I can't always just be in the flow where I feel comfortable and that means that it's right. Sometimes my discomfort or my uncomfort also shows me where there's like a sticky spot in the flow of my life or in the flow of the conversation between me and the universe. So I get to be okay with things that don't feel, look, touch, taste, resonate the best all day long, and that is totally okay. Now, as we get to Thursday, we're going to see Mercury enter into the energy of Libra. Like I said, Mercury is already in pre-retrograde shadow time. It began on August 20th at 24 degrees of Virgo. So go back to that. What's happening at 24 degrees of Virgo in your chart because you want to make note of that. But now Mercury is slowly bringing itself forward, gets into this energy of Virgo. So the mind, our thinking, Mercury, right, gets busy. It gets into an air sign. So we could be thinking. Oh, it changed my mind. How about this? How about this? How about this? You can find your mind going in multiple different directions. So one of the things is it's wonderful because it's playful. It allows you to kind of, if you use it right or well, you can kind of float above your life. And I like to use the stadium analogy, right? Down here, when Mercury is in Virgo, we're sitting in like kind of the floor seats, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, I can see the sweat on the players. It's, oh my God, before COVID, it was awesome, you know? But then as Mercury gets into an air sign, we get into more nosebleedy seats, right? And the benefit of that is that we can look down and we see more of the field. So we get a different perspective on what's going on in our lives, where it's like, oh, that's why that's out of balance. There's 5 of those over there and 2 of those over there. And from the floor seats, you couldn't see it. So as Mercury travels through Libra, and we're of course going to have the retrograde as we get into September, I just want you to know your mind could get busy. You could be thinking a lot of things, having a lot of conversations. People could be showing up. You could be indecisive. But ultimately, a great use of it is to try and find a different or a new perspective or see something in a way that you couldn't see it before. Because sometimes we think that we are owed an apology, we are owed justice. I owe an apology or justice, or I'm seeing a situation from just one perspective. And as I get to those nosebleed seats, I can see it much, much, much differently, okay? Now, as we flush forward and we get to Friday, we see the moon enter into the energy of Virgo. Yay, here we go, Virgo energy. Really delightful. We're going to plant our seeds of intention to begin something new, to begin something different at 4 degrees of Virgo. It's absolutely divine. We are working our way towards that. That's not going to happen until the 27th, but we're getting prepped for it. So start to take note, because I find that you feel the lunation energy like a day or two before. So kind of keep that in mind, okay? Now, we're also going to be moving the next day into this new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo. We've got Venus square Uranus. We've got Sun square Mars. We've got Saturn, Uranus squaring each other. So this is a busy new moon, and I want to talk about this for just a second. So first of all, the new moon is when the sun and the moon are together in the sky. The luminaries are dancing together, so absolutely anything's possible, but we're working in the dark. You plant your seeds of intention to begin something new, get a fresh perspective, move in a different direction, but you do it in the soil of magic because it's dark. You hope that you planted cucumbers and that you grow cucumbers, you know, but it's really a little bit of a mystery and how it's all gonna unfold in the end. Now, this particular moon is also square Mars. So this is why I say too, high retrograde energy in the sky this week, right? First and foremost. And then we've got this new moon where I want to plant my seeds of intention to do something, be discerning, move myself out, health, organization, any of these things. And it is squaring against Mars. That is really, really hard. And I think it is particularly challenging because this thing that you are wanting to do means that, first of all, you may be feeling like you're pushed in the box. This is our square box, and you're being squished in here, squish me down, squish me down, squish me down, squish me I what happens when I feel like I got pressure on me, right? I like this, I get tighter and tighter and tighter. So I've got to do something to get out of the box. That's the point of a square. It's the 911. Hey, your life is being squished into this box. Take an action. But it's Mars. So I want to take a Mars action. I want to be aggressive. I want to be impulsive. I want to be, maybe I'm irritated. I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated. I don't like it. I want to be impulsive and go this direction, right? There's a lot of impatience. It's still Mars that comes with that particular aspect. Now, what better use, instead of this and getting squished in there and then you come out fighting, is remember, diamonds aren't just diamonds. Like, they don't just come out and they're like diamond ta-da. It doesn't work that way. So instead of fighting, being defensive, being impulsive, doing these things, realize there's maybe pressure put on you, and you're being shaped. You're being turned into an absolutely gorgeous gem, right? Like, you're being changed, but it's taking the pressure to do that, right? You do not get a new life. You do not get a cool experience without a little bit of labor going into it. So this is very much so something that I think of there. And if you can, just remember that everybody's experiencing this aspect as well. And Mercury is running around in Libra right now. And so you might be saying something or somebody's saying something. Don't take yourselves too seriously this week, right? Like rule 62, calm down. Don't take yourself and others so seriously this week, because what can happen is you run into someone else's fear, or they run into your fear, and then we feel threatened. It's hands up. I'm going to be irrational. I'm going to say the thing, right? And no human, this is still a moon. It's a moon. It's an emotional, reactive kind of energy. And we all get scared. If you scare me, I might say something that I didn't mean to say, or I'll go, oh my gosh, where did that come from? And instead, you can use this to pull a lot of strength together, right? Because under a square, if you take an evolved action, you can actually do something useful with it. It's Mars, work out, go work out, do something physical. It's Virgo, right? Do projects that need to get done. When I say to you right now, put your head where your hands are. What could you go put your fingertips on in your house or in your car right now that you can absolutely take care of without doing damage to anybody around you that will benefit you later? I think that's a fantastic energy to be thinking of. Now, Venus is squaring Uranus. We've got Saturn, Uranus, like in their weak little square. And then we're going to see it's much more tight tomorrow, the Venus opposing Saturn. But either way, this also puts a lot of pressure on your relationships. So truly, if there are cracks in the cement, it's time to have that conversation. And I'm not just talking romance, business, mentorship, content creators, whatever it is. If you are in relation, if you've got a higher power in your life that ain't doing shit for you, you maybe have to get a bigger one or a different one, or find a different place to surrender. Whatever it is, the cracks in the cement of our relationships will absolutely become seen. Situations, people, places, things, and circumstances or events can also bring the change to the table for us as well, which so it shows us that it's like, hey, I've got to do something different in these scenarios going forward, or I'm going to have to keep having this exact same experience, which, sometimes we're always doing the best that we can, aren't we? Right? Because once we know better, we're doing better. Or once I know different, I'm usually doing different. And I think sometimes that's a very hard concept for us to understand, that in most given moments, as a human being, you are doing the very best that you can and that you have available. Because the minute you know something different, most humans will do something different. I mean, it's just, it's such a powerless, changing miraculous feature of humanity, I think. Okay, on Sunday, before we're going to wrap up this week, we've got Venus in an opposition to Saturn. So they're pulling away from each other like this, okay? So first of all, in an opposition, because it's relational and it requires the two energies to integrate. You're trying to find that sweet spot in the middle so that these two energies can integrate with each other. You may find some delays. You might be like, hey, listen, I've been trying to get this thing done over here and I am delayed. I do not understand why it's taking so long to get this done. Or I don't understand why. Here's a big one, right? Saturn is retrograde as well. So one of the big thoughts I have is I'm supposed to be doing this fun social thing, or I'm supposed to be coming out here and living my best life, and I don't want to. And I kind of can't understand why I don't fully want to connect. I don't fully understand why I'm meeting resistance or pressure from people around me to be making things happen, doing things, doing this, when really my heart and soul are kind of like, I need some downtime. I don't want to do that. I also do think because it's Sunday, one of the ideas that I have is two things really. One, you might be bringing something to an ending or a closing or a culmination under this energy in some way. So it's like the beauty of the beginning Venus and the discipline that you've put in with Saturn, they kind of integrate in the middle and you're able to bring it to culmination. But the other thing I was thinking of is to remember, up until now, the things that you have done out of service, the things you have done out of love, the things that you have worked hard on, been practical about, the things that you have lobbed little victories into the water, your long-range successes are coming. Right? It's attached to this. Saturn supports doing the hard work, but then also rewards at the end of the recognition for that particular work. So I'm telling you, if you feel like I've been working on this for 2 years and absolutely nobody's acknowledging it, or you're not getting the praise and acknowledgement that you would like to, or you're feeling behind, or there's doubt, this is still Saturn work. What I want you to remember is that your work has, first of all, not been pointless. I don't care if it's in the community, if it's at your house, if it's on you in therapy, wherever it's at. Your work has not been pointless at all. Instead, this energy may show you a little course correction where you've got to bring the relationship from the sweet beginning and the discipline together in order to integrate them. And it kind of allows you a space to, what's the word I'm looking for? Be prepared, get on different footing, different foundation, something like that. But it's all an energy that if you feel sad, you feel down, you feel lonely, you feel like I kind of don't want to, or I don't understand, go to ground, spend some time by yourself. It's okay to be in the solitude. It's okay to say, no, I don't want to go to this thing. FOMO. It's okay to address FOMO, the fear of missing out. Not everything needs your attention right now, but if you go to things and you're out and about on this day, it is your responsibility to tend wisely to the relationships around you. So if you're feeling like, I don't even like people right now, or I just need a nap, this might be the best time to take action on a little bit of enforced isolation and quiet practice, okay? All right, my absolutely beautiful friends, I love you a ton. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me. Keep in mind that as we come back on the 31st, we're going to have Miss Catherine Goshen here with us to go over Sun Moon Blends from the YouTube Academy. If you have not started watching classes in the YouTube Academy, this is year 2. All of the original classes are up. Go watch them. Get your foundations underneath you. Empty houses. What does that mean? What does it mean when we say that the moon is emotional? How do you know if you and another person are actually compatible? Go check out the synastry videos. It's all right there in the YouTube Academy playlist. So check it out, my beautiful friends. I love you a bunch, and I will be sending our next video or doing our next live. We'll see how it goes from ESAR. So if you are going to ESAR this coming week up in Westminster, Colorado, I look forward to seeing you there, okay? All right, beautiful friends. Bye.